All right, let's jump right in. Imagine this. A big hailstorm rolls through and does a number on your roof. A few days later, an estimate from your insurance company lands in your inbox. It looks official, it feels final, you see the dollar amount, and you think, okay, well, I guess that's what I'm getting. But what if I told you that number is almost never the end of the story?
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is that first piece of paper, that initial estimate, the absolute final word? A lot of people just assume it is, but honestly, that assumption could be costing you thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars.
Because here's the secret. In the world of property claims, that first offer is really just the opening bid. It's the start of a negotiation you probably didn't even know you were a part of. It's the beginning of a process, not the end of one. The trick is knowing how to play the game.
And the main tool in that game has a name. It's called a supplement. Think of it as the contractor's official counter offer. It's a formal, documented request for all the legitimate costs and damages that were missed or just plain left out of that first estimate.
You know, this requires a huge mindset shift. It's exactly why you don't have to just take what you get. Supplementing isn't about being difficult or greedy. It's about being accurate. It's about making sure your insurance policy does what you paid for it to do, make you whole again after a loss.
So what's the secret sauce? What do good contractors know that most homeowners don't? Well, they have a playbook. They have a master list of real, legitimate items that get left off those initial estimates all the time. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at what's on that list.
For a roof, it's always the details. Things like drip edge to protect the wood or ice and water shield, which is often required by your local building code but somehow gets missed. And then there's all the safety stuff. If a roof is steep, OSHA actually mandates a dedicated supervisor and specific safety gear. These aren't just suggestions. They are real, necessary costs to do the job safely and legally, and they absolutely belong on the claim.
And hey, this isn't just about roofs. For siding, did the adjuster account for the insulation board behind the siding? What about the labor to carefully detach and then reset your light fixtures, your mailbox, your shutters? Those little things add up incredibly fast. Same for gutters. Is the insurance company paying for standard 5-inch gutters when you actually have the bigger, more expensive 6-inch ones? Accuracy is everything.
So you see the difference here. The initial estimate is the opening bid, and it's based on a quick, high-level inspection. But the supplemented scope, that's the reality. It's based on a detailed analysis that includes building codes, safety requirements, and all the little details it takes to do the job right. It's the difference between a patch job and a proper restoration.
Okay, so knowing what to ask for is half the battle, for sure. But the other half, and this is maybe the trickier part, is knowing how and who to ask. There is absolutely an art to getting a supplement approved, and it's all about strategy.
And this analogy from our source material is just perfect. Think about it like you're a kid asking your parents for something. The field adjuster, the person who came to your house, that's mom. If she already saw something on site and said no, asking her again isn't going to work. You need to go to Dad, the desk adjuster. This is the person back at the office, the one who handles the paperwork and cuts the checks. They are the real decision maker when it comes to supplements.
And the actual process is super methodical. You identify what's missing, you revise the estimate, but then the key is how you present it. A professional-friendly email with a simple, clear, bulleted list makes it incredibly easy for that desk adjuster to understand and approve. From there, it's just polite follow-up and negotiating with a we're all on the same team attitude to get it closed out.
The tone of that first email is everything. I mean, look at this example. It's not angry, it's not demanding, it's polite, professional, and it frames the whole thing as just a simple correction. Using phrases like, just a few missing items, presents it as a collaborative effort to get the fall right, not a fight.
The whole point is to make it as easy as possible for the desk adjuster to say yes. You're basically doing their homework for them. You give them a complete package with everything they need: the new estimate, photos with arrows and notes pointing out the issues, a copy of the local building code. You're making it a no-brainer. The easier you make their job, the faster you get paid. So why does all this matter so much? Because we are not talking about pocket change here. The financial impact of a well-documented supplement can be absolutely massive. But, and this is a big but, with such high stakes, there is a very serious pitfall you need to know about.
And this isn't just theory. Look at this real-world example. A homeowner gets an initial offer of $7,000 for hail damage. After a proper supplement, the final payout was $17,000. That is more than double the original amount.
Or how about this one? This is even more dramatic. An initial estimate of just $3,500 balloons into a final settlement of $22,000. That's a 500% increase. All of that money was just sitting on the table, waiting to be unlocked through this process.
For the contractors doing the work, you can see how this becomes a total game changer. An average supplement of just $2,500 per job adds up to an extra $125,000 a year for a small company. For a mid-sized contractor, you're talking nearly $400,000 in extra revenue, and most of that is pure profit, covering real costs they would have had to eat otherwise.
Okay, now we have to talk about something incredibly important. With this kind of money flying around, there is a very bright, very serious legal line in the sand that you simply cannot cross.
And here it is, plain and simple. Getting paid for legitimate items you need for the job, that's supplementing. Getting paid for items that are on the final paperwork but then not installing them, that is insurance fraud, period. Full stop. The work on that final approved invoice absolutely must be completed to collect the full payment.
So, here's the big takeaway. An insurance claim isn't a final verdict handed down from on high. It's the start of a negotiation. That first estimate is just a starting point. And just knowing that, knowing how to professionally and ethically document what's missing, it changes the entire dynamic. It puts you in a position of power to get a fair and complete restoration. So the question is, how will you approach things next time?